Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Every time we get together with her, so many great ideas on what you can do in terms of decorating, redesigning your home, just even transforming the vibe within your home. Today, we're going to look at kids' rooms. How do you make them functional? How do you get the most space out of it? How do you get the junk out of the way? She's here from My Favorite Design. She is Laura Sullivan. She's an amazing interior designer. Welcome back. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks, Steve.
Loving. I want to go right to your website. It's myfavoritedesign.net, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And on there, let's focus on black and white vacation home. That's under the projects. And there's some kids' rooms here that we're going to focus on. Here's what I'm looking at. A 4-post bed, white bed, and superhero mural on the wall.
Yep.
Tell us. Let's go to that room right now.
Perfect. So on the House website, which we have a presence on, we have all of our projects listed there. On the black and white home project that you're referring to, it was for a young family from London. Had never met them before. I had 12 days to do this project. 12 days. And they said, we detest brown. We want black and white. Those were the marching orders. We have 2 young children. We want it to be friendly for the kids. And so there's a couple of things that I did. I had them send me a photograph of their children. They were young and beautiful picture, professionally done. I had that blown up and made into a wallpaper mural. So I figured that would be very impactful and a nice way of welcoming the family into their family room. So that's the black and white photo that you see there.
Oh,
and
let me find that because I'm not looking at that. I was looking at the superhero mural.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find.
You'll see a black and white on the wall. It's just the picture of the kids playing, and it's the kitchen and the family room. It has a red carpet, black sofa, and then against the sofa is the black and white.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that's just one way of, making it kid friendly, like that's a space for the kids to play. But the project that you're referring to with the bedroom, the kids were into superheroes. So again, using wallpaper as like the main, you can really fill up a space with just one tool, which is wallpaper, instead of a lot of different posters and photographs and things like that. Instead, just do a wallpaper of their superhero, and that kind of sets the tone and the theme. And that was the basis behind that particular home. But also in the home, they were really interested in having a dedicated play area for the kids. So we created the casita. We transformed their casita, which is a separate space, a dwelling on the property, into a playroom for the kids, loaded with bunk beds and toys and lots of storage. And we even put a music system in there, an audio system, so that they can bring down put a projector in there and watch movies and fill it with bean bags and all sorts of fun things. But when you want it to transform into an adult space and hide the toys, you've got plenty of storage underneath the bunk beds to do that. So that was fun. It was a lot of
I'm in that room right now, and the bunk bed, that's a custom design that was designed for that wall.
Correct. Yeah. My cabinet maker had to get involved on that. You can certainly buy bunk beds, and that's the easiest way of doing it if that's what your budget allows to do. And it's functional and a great choice. These particular clients were very specific of what they wanted, and they didn't want it to look like a bunk bed. And so I had to have a professional cabinet maker come in, and I designed it, and then he just made it happen, which is great. So I put a big, huge chalkboard in the background.
It's fantastic. It doesn't look like your traditional bunk bed. It's got the functionality, the safety, all of that. I can see we have the upper part of the bed, and then you have I guess maybe some storage or something next to it. And then of course you can sleep underneath it. What's supporting the whole structure? How are you getting that done?
It's basically like a closet underneath. So that's what's holding up the bed that's above it. And it's a twin bed above you should always do a twin as a maximum for the above bedroom because the sheer weight is too much if it's larger than that. And then the bottom area was more for like bench and storage. And they actually had a really great sound system that they wanted because that was kind of piped into their outdoor space as well.
Okay.
So that's where we hid the equipment. So a lot of functionality, multi-purpose. And when you design for kids, it's constantly changing. So the kids will love purple one day and red the next, right? So you have to be able to change it as they grow and as their tastes change and their interests. So it was fun. It's everyone's different, and it's really fun, interesting to like meet the kids,
Mm,
see them in their play space.
sure.
So if they have a lot of friends that come over, then you've done your job well because they want to be at that house.
Challenge for you because the initial marching order, if you will, we want it black and white.
Yeah.
Okay. It
Mhm.
is black and white. Nice pops of contrast within the black and white, but then you pop color. Some red from time to time, especially in the kids area. Um, I
Yeah.
would think that would be a challenge because now you have to be careful, because
Yeah.
that's what they want.
It's interesting. We had those clients were fantastic, and like I mentioned before, we had never met. We spoke on the phone several times, and
Wow.
I just got a feel for what she liked, and I could tell that, when you're dealing with Europeans, they are not afraid of taking a risk, and they're not afraid of color. So it's fun. And they were just, she was adamant about get rid of the brown. And I walked into this house and it was completely brown and beige. I'm like, what? So I thought, well, all right, paint's easy. That's fast. We'll do that. We'll paint the walls. But then we did a lot of carpet tiles. So another thing to kind of keep in mind with kids or small pets, if you're going to have any kind of carpet, if there's an accident, you're going to have to change the entire carpet. In this particular house, I used nothing but carpet tiles. So they're individual
Wow.
tiles that are carpet, and if something spills, it can easily be replaced, just that tile. So
Wow.
you don't have to rip up the entire, area rug. You just replace that one little spot. So that was, a nice little fun trick and of the trade, and something that the clients appreciated. They were really impressed, and I went on to do several homes for those people. They actually moved into the house. They loved it so much. It was supposed to be a
Wow.
vacation home.
See that those little tips you're not going to know unless you work with the designer. Like, duh, use tiles, carpet tiles. So if you have a spill, you swap it out, and you can have a stock of individual tiles somewhere if you need to.
Exactly.
The black and white in I don't know if that's tile or carpet tile, but there's black and white on the floor next to the
Yep.
fireplace. What
Those
is
are all tiles. Mhm.
those are all tiles, not
Yep.
carpet tiles, but tiles.
Carpet, it's actually carpet, and
Wow.
they are is cut into tiles, and it's just adhered to the floor with like this really great tape, so it doesn't move. It's non-slip. So it's a really great thing. We used it in the living room, in the family room, which is a red carpet, and then again in the kids' bedrooms.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Genius idea. And even we get into the garage, you continued the black and white
Yep.
uh scenario, but there's also on the floor, there's I don't know
That's
how to
rubber tile. Yeah,
rubber
that's for
tile.
cars. Those are fun. I've done that several times. I did recently, we just finished the Las Vegas Raiders coach's house here. And so we did everything in black and white, obviously, for the Raiders. We did this garage and his entire house, but not the entire house in black and white, but
Cool.
definitely the garage. It was very
Yeah.
cool.
And this garage looks awesome. And you
Yeah.
have, even on the floor, that red is the pop color in my for the
Yeah.
entire house, you
Yeah.
know.
So
Um
I usually do that. If there's just two colors, like basic colors that the client wants, I always ask for one accent color just to give it some interest. So,
hmm.
but
Let's move on to another project. Which one?
the Idaho project was also a kid-friendly project. This is a vacation home in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I had done many homes for these clients here in Las Vegas, and they built a beautiful vacation home in Coeur d'Alene, which is really quite popular these days. A lot of clients are building homes there. And when they go to their lake house, they want to just play. So they have teenage kids, and they wanted to be the house that everybody came to hang out in. And so again, we introduced the bunk beds, which were a custom, that was a very custom you piece of furniture, basically. We also incorporated bunk beds that were store-bought in other rooms just to give additional sleeping areas. And, kids really love bunk beds. It's fun. They hang out, they
Mm.
climb, they jump. So that was important to them. What's not photographed in which I kind of regret, I should have stayed back one extra day. I had ordered a teepee to come, like a life-size teepee, and I put that in the entrance, which there's no photograph of it, but that was another fun little trick, because I'm like,
Wow.
what can we do that it's just different, that nobody else might have in their home? And it was a great little hangout for the girls. I know the client was mentioning that the girls actually loved the teepee more than the boys, because they filled it with pillows, and they were, like a little lounge area, but it was a life-size teepee inside their house, which was super
Wow.
fun. You can get that online. I mean, it's not difficult to look at, but maybe think outside the box and do something that's different, that maybe no one else has, because that's the attraction, to have those kids, come over. Media rooms are also important for teenagers. They want lots of TV and screen time. And so most clients that are doing a vacation home, they'll insist on some kind of a projection system, or a family room that will accommodate for lots of people to sit and lounge and jump on the couch and just watch television. So we tried to give them that as well, which,
Am I looking at that? There's one room, there's definitely a monitor, but there's black panels next to it. And I'm not,
yeah.
is that it?
Those are all TVs. So it's
Okay.
wall-to-wall televisions. I believe it
Wow.
was 3 TVs. And so you could watch, sports and a movie in the middle. And I know it's a little extreme, and not everyone has the luxury of doing that, but that's super fun. If you can do it, why not? And so this was just definitely a place where they built this house so that the parents could, enjoy the nature and relax outside. And they literally turned the house over to the kids. So they
Wow.
just, yeah, had all their friends coming over.
The bunk bed. So
Mhm.
very unique in this room. And I want to make sure that it is a bunk bed, because it doesn't look like a bunk bed. The room that I'm in right now, there's two pillows with the silhouette of a steer and maybe
Yes.
the horns. That's a bunk bed.
Yep. That's actually not a custom bunk bed. That's a store-bought one.
Wow.
Yeah. Restoration Hardware. So kudos to them. They came up with that, and I don't believe they offer that anymore in their line, but that was a beautiful looking bed, and it has everything that you want, you know.
What's so unique about this room is the bed comes out, and traditionally we think, bunk bed's going to be the top and the bottom, and it's going to
Yeah.
follow each other. This is the other way around. It's the bed coming out, but the bunk bed is across the top of, call it
Mhm.
the the head of the
Yeah.
bed, the bottom head of the bottom bed. Very
Yeah,
unique
so
going
the
like
top
this.
is a twin and the bottom is you have your choices between a full size bed or a queen size bed. So that happened to be a full size bed. So two people could sleep on the bottom and one person comfortably up on top. So just,
Is that a kid's room?
that's their youngest, who's 8 years old.
See, here's the thing. It doesn't look like it doesn't have to be a kid's room, because
Mhm.
it's got a rustic Western kind of look to it. So just so
Yeah,
it could be an adult's room. So you kind of get away from that. And the kids obviously are cool with it, but you kind of get away from that kid look where
right.
this very interesting.
Yeah, if they're 5 and older, I gravitate, I put my 2 cents in, and that's why they have me there is to give them my expertise and my opinion. And I'm like, listen, at 5 and under, it's all about being able to, the superheroes and doing the fun, bright, colorful stuff. But other than that, their tastes are going to change quite dramatically.
Sure.
And in no time they'll be teenagers. And so you want to have them feel a little bit like a big boy, is what I always say. So I don't make it look too much like children are in that particular room.
And I love that.
Yeah.
It's you still feel like you've as the parents, you've claimed the house, if you will.
Yeah.
You haven't given up total control. But if that's your
Yeah.
choice, then that's fine. If you want, if you want a Barbie room, if you want a superhero room, if that
Yeah,
supports your kids, and that's
exactly.
fine too. But
And
this is I
it's
love the
kind of,
fact that it doesn't look like a kid's room and the kids are cool with it.
yeah. And so the way you get around that is just have a conversation with the kids. You got to ask them their opinion. What colors do you like? Is there something that is there something that you absolutely love? And they'll tell you, like the teenage girls will say, well, I have to have a pink room or a heart-shaped pillow. Those are like the big deals for them. Okay. So we'll work around that answer that they give us, and that's what we work around. So it's fun.
One thing's for sure, in this home, you definitely don't want that English couple.
No,
Yeah, because this is predominantly brown.
this is definitely, yeah, brown. This is
Brown.
very natural and gorgeous house, gorgeous area, like
Yeah.
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Oh my gosh, the views out the window, the views sitting in the tub, which
Yeah,
is a
how about that?
freestanding tub. What do they call those types of tubs?
A freestanding tub.
It
Yep.
is just okay.
It's not a clawfoot tub is one that actually has legs, and something that's shaped like an egg or rectangular that just sits on the tile itself is a
Yeah,
freestanding. Mhm.
the views out that window, and unbelievable. Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It's very picturesque. A lot of people think that's like a poster or
Ex-
picture. It's
Exactly.
not. It's their window. That's their view outside their tub. So
Uh,
there's a lot of options you have when you're designing for families, and the age of the kids really makes a difference.
mm.
But like you said, it's kind of important to kind of claim your home, right? It is your home.
What about storage? With kids, you got so much stuff.
Mhm.
Ideas to camouflage, hide away. What can we do?
So, cabinets are great. You can buy a piece of furniture that's a credenza and use it with doors and drawers, and you can, stuff as many toys in there as you like, so that it looks like an adult piece of furniture. But it's really a storage. And for example, in that Coeur d'Alene house, the Idaho house, as you walk in, there's in the entry, there's a large uh, credenza, and it's a cabinet, and inside it's just nothing but toys, Legos, games for the family to play, a chess piece. So it looks like a china cabinet, but it's filled with nothing but the purpose and the intent is to store so that it doesn't look like a playground when you walk in.
Mm.
Baskets are another easy, inexpensive way to store things. But I tend to like to use as much space as possible. If you have a bench, let's make it a storage bench, not the one that tilts up like a chest, but rather put doors in the front of it,
Okay.
and then you can easily put the toys away and then use it multi-purpose. So in mudrooms, we do the same thing. Mudrooms are all about taking your shoes off and coats and backpacks, but it's also another great place to store all of these toys. I can't believe how much these kids have, how many
Yeah.
toys they have. It's so much. So you really have to think about that and try to use every little inch to just, use it as storage.
In the Idaho home, in the media room, there's a
Mhm.
bench there. That's storage, isn't it?
It is all of it. So it's everything's concealed. Like I'm not a huge fan of walking in and seeing things splayed out, I think it's fine if it's a dedicated playroom, but I don't think that that should be your hello. because when you walk in someone's front door, it sets the tone for what the rest of the house is supposed to look and feel like. And so I do my best to tell my clients, listen, this would make a great play area, or this particular bedroom, we can transform it for just the kids. There really isn't a need or a necessity. People have this, especially in the West Coast, there, homes are different sizes and uh, different, well, they're just different sizes. You can have a large kitchen with a great room attached to it, and people will always say, well, I want to see my kids when they're playing while I'm cooking, and that's fine, but we need to have a spot for everything to be put away and cleaned up if it's dinner time or company's coming over. So you really have to, storage does play a factor in all of that.
I think that looks to me like finding those ways to put stuff away and integrating it into the design so it's not so obvious that it's storage.
Yeah.
As a designer, is that like some of the fun stuff that and things that you're proud of? Like, yeah, you wouldn't know it, but that's a storage area.
True. That's very true. Anything that can be concealed, and like a wow or a surprise, I really love doing that.
Mm.
So, I do that in kitchens a lot too. I mean, not just playrooms, but where there's a door that you don't know, if you walk in, everyone thinks, oh, that's a pantry. Now it's the big walk-in pantries are like a really big deal. And almost like a necessity. So there's ways of doing it where you don't even know that there's a door there. It's concealed. Maybe it's a pocket door, maybe it's a barn door. So it's like what's behind door number one. So things like that I do like. I like concealing things. I don't like it to be so obvious.
How about any other projects that we should look at that are on your website that tie into either storage, kids?
Yeah, well, there's the storage wise, that's always that would be on any of those projects that you see on house.com. It's just uh kitchen islands are a big deal. That's another way of
Mhm.
storing, which is super important. And a lot of people are tending to do more drawers instead of doors because it's easier to, you don't have to bend over, you don't have to, it's just easier access. And it's interesting because when you have the freedom to design and people say, listen, this is our lifestyle, this is how we live, this is the family, we have a family of 5 and we have 2 dogs and we have a lot of out of town guests. You have to take all of those elements into consideration and then apply it, and not just in the main rooms, but it's every room, bathrooms, kitchen, bedrooms. So to answer your question, I think we do a pretty good job on that um, with most of our projects. And the other thing is that when we walk into a house, especially the newer builds, there really isn't any storage. Nobody's taking that into consideration. It's kind of like going back to the 1920s where you had a wardrobe closet. You didn't actually have a closet. That's why the houses built back in the 1920s. You had a freestanding piece of furniture that had your suits or your dresses. They didn't have closets. And they're trying to make the main area living spaces so large these days that they're forgetting that it's pretty important to have some closet space. And
Hmm.
so you're finding you're having to really work with closet companies more, and your cabinet people more, so that you come up with genius ideas to make it efficient, because the spaces are smaller to store things. And so you have to make it look like a piece of furniture or a built-in, so that it's pretty and it's not just stacked, mile high. It's a little different, I know, for back east, because you don't have any storage a lot of times. I mean, but you have to get creative. So that's what's fun. If you can do a new build or a remodel, then the sky's the limit. It's just a matter of picking the right pieces or working with the right vendor to create that opportunity for the family to live comfortably. The other thing is mud rooms are huge. That's really making quite a comeback. And it's not just about, shoes and backpacks, but like I said before, it's making it look, you have to make it look presentable. It's really a pretty room, so I like to throw wallpaper in there and
A lot of times we don't look at
custom
it in terms of aesthetics because it's a mud room. It's kind of a utility room. So in some
Yeah.
homes, you have the washer and dryer in there, and it's an area to enter the house from a different way. You have
Mhm.
stuff on your feet.
Yeah.
Nobody looks
But
at it that way. It can be pretty.
Yeah. In Nashville, or we went to Nashville to do a home for a repeat client. We did 3 homes for them, 2 in Nevada, 1 in Los Angeles, and then they built this gorgeous home in Nashville. And I realized we went out, Jordan and I went out, flew out there to take a look at the house. It was already built, and then just kind of get a lay of the land. And then our job was to furnish and to spruce it up. And that's what we did. But the mud room was interesting because I said, no one's using the front door ever here. No one's coming through the front. So let's make this mud room look amazing. So we had built-ins for the mud room, which looked like furniture and just super pretty. And then we had it wallpapered in this really fun and funky wallpaper. And they love it. The clients love it. People like it because it's really something different. And that is like their front door. And everyone goes in and out of the garage. So make your mudroom pretty, or your laundry room really pretty, because
Agreed.
people are coming in through the garage. And that's the first thing they say. And if it feels good and looks pretty and nice, then you're going to be happy.
Isn't it funny? Like I'm as we're talking, I never want to say the word never. I never come through the front door. The only time the front door gets opened is to pick up an Amazon package or DoorDash. That's it.
Yeah.
Love the pictures. Love the way you look at things and making it so functional, no matter whether it's your kid's room or a mud room. Laura, how do we find you?
Well, we'd be happy to talk to anyone that's interested in remodeling their home or decorating their home. We have a presence on Houzz, Houzz. We have a website, myfavoritedesign.net, or you can find us on Instagram at myfavoritedesign.lv. And we'd be happy to help anyone that's interested. We travel, we go everywhere that people need us, and we're super excited and we love what we do.
And it shows, and your passion is there. Just go to the website at the very least and get inspiration from the pictures. Love them all.
If they have any questions, they can feel free to reach me directly on my email, which is posted on the website, or my contact information. And I always get back to people. So feel free to give us a shout.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Steve. Have a great day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.